non-public session. We're reopening back in the public session at 6:33. I take a motion to seal the meeting minutes. Motion to seal the minutes. Second. Roll call. Yes. Yes. I'm a yes. That's enough. That's enough. Okay. So now that we're on video, I'm just going to read one item that I read on the first opening of public session before we're in a non-public, so that we can capture this on the record for those watching at home. We had some correspondence dated April 6, 2023 at 7 a.m. It states the following: as of the above date and time, I submit this letter of resignation from the select board and my duties as health officer. My time will end immediately. Thank you, Richard G. Wilson. So I will be serving as the interim chairman of the board until the board decides we're going to do some type of restructuring and maybe fill the vacancy. So.
I would think we should solicit anyone interested in this to say the next 2 weeks to put in interest in serving the rest of the year's term.
Okay. So I can
until elections next year. Correct. So I would support that, Kevin, and I would say that we should have put a deadline on when.
How about
solicitations?
On 2 Mondays from now. 24th.
Maybe the 24th. I think that's enough. And in the meantime, we get on the website as quickly as we can.
Yep. So do we need that as a motion, or we come to a consensus? Okay.
I think as a motion. To fill the position of Richard Wilson's, I would like to recommend that we allow anyone interested in serving as appointed for the rest of this year's term, which goes till March of next year, to send a letter of intent to the Board of Selectmen, care of Susan Ayer, our admin assistant, and that is up until April 24th, we said at noon time?
Yep. A second.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Take the vote. All in favor? Aye. So just for clarification of anyone watching, if anyone is interested in filling the open selectman's seat for the remainder of this year, can submit a letter of intent to the Board of Selectmen, having it in to Susan no later than noon time on April 24th. All right, sorry we're a little late for our 6:30 appointment, but we have I know Brad Maxwell is here, as well as the trustees of the trust funds to give us an overview of accounts.
So Richard resigned from his office. Did he resign his other position also?
Yes, he did.
Wow. For the record, some other members of my trustees are here also.
You don't run if you want.
I can report. She's fine. John Cranberg also is here.
Okay, great.
You might want to move that microphone so that there you go. Like that?
Just so the folks at home can hear you too.
I don't think they can. From what I hear,
the audio is horrible.
yes. So what is it you want to do? Well, this kind of gets, it's supposed to get done on an annual basis, which is accounts with money that the selectmen at times have don't know where it's for, why it's in there. Is it money that we should spend on a particular project, or if we have to do it? And I think that for instance, like the fire building has got some money left in it. The legal fund, which has $133,000 in it, and I'm assuming that's the legal fund as a backup. God forbid we have some major lawsuit. We budget for legal every year, but I'm assuming that fund is established. I believe that the legal fund, and really you had asked about that previously. The legal fund was established in the March 13, 2001 meeting, and it says, so the town established a capital reserve fund under the provisions of RSA 35-1-
V, to be known as the town legal fund for the purpose of paying extraordinary town legal expenses. And they put $100,000 toward that purpose. The named Board of Selectmen as agents to expend. So, I guess if you have extraordinary legal expenses, you can draw on this.
Okay.
It's been sitting there, I don't believe it's ever been drawn on, it's like 133,000 in it now, roughly.
Now, then we have a transportation improvement fund, which I think you told me was about 5,200 in it now.
Right.
And we haven't used that for something.
The Transportation Improvement Fund was established also at that same meeting, 2001. There was a previous fund that was for the New Boston traffic light, I forget the exact title of it. And when the state came and put in the traffic light at New Boston Road, that no longer needed that fund, so they stopped, canceled that fund and rolled the money over into this new fund that is also the Board of Selectmen as agents to expend, and it doesn't really specify what it's to be used for other than the title of transportation improvements.
So, under your understanding, if we would do something to planes, as the voters said,
I know, a couple of years ago, we replaced the light out here in front of the country store, whatever we call it now. That light over there had some work done on it, and this past year, they had asked us for some money for a project. I believe they were working on Main Street, all the three, and we took some money out of that for the preliminary, some of the preliminary work down there, planning work on that.
Okay.
So that fund has been drawn on.
Okay.
Are there any funds that, you maybe think that people aren't aware of, in particular ones that are underutilized or just not understood, so they're not being, I guess, looked at for opportunities? The only one I ever knew of was when I sat with the baseball recreational league. I know we came to you to do some upgrades over at Magnuson Field, but really outside of that, I didn't really have any experience with the trustee.
Yeah, that's one of them. I don't think that's been drawn on again in the last few years. Are there others that people aren't aware of? I'm not sure what people are aware of. I'm not aware of what they're not aware of.
But I think the one that you just talked about, that transportation improvement one, is one that probably most people didn't even know about. I knew about it only because it was brought to my attention a couple of years ago, but frankly, I didn't know anything about it, so.
And I'm sure you're aware of the infrastructure fund. And that requires, anytime you want to spend money from that, it requires a public hearing ahead of time, with intent of what you want to use it for, before drawing on it.
There's, when you look at the cemeteries, and the different names of the cemeteries and the amounts of money that are in there, I know that Mill Stream does reimburse the town for its work there, or whatever we need to do there. I see this new cemetery fund with $118,000 in it. Again, don't know what the word new means, but
Well, I'm not sure exactly when it happened. They used to keep the individual listed cemeteries are old money, perpetual care money was put in there, and each had to be accounted for individually. It still has to be accounted for individually. And starting, I think it might have been 86 or 88, they petitioned the state and they allowed us to, from that point forward, to pool the money, and that's the new cemetery funds. The old cemetery funds still have to be accounted for. There's like, I don't know, 400 or 500 of them that have $200,000, $300,000, $1,000 in them. That every year have to be accounted for separately. And the accounting nightmare, and technically, we're only supposed to, spend the money that's generated by the given funds. So if they have a perpetual care of $200 set aside, and it generates, especially in the interest environment we've had the last few years, generates $1 $1.30 or something for the year, or less. We're only allowed to use that $1.30 for that particular plot, which is kind of crazy. So we pull it all, even though it's accounted for individually, and we take care of everyone's grave, similarly.
So that total bottom line, and I'm looking at the back page here, which shows total cemetery funds of $323,595. That's the pool number.
320, as of the end of the year, I think. Yeah.
Flip size,
Yeah. So that number is the number that is in some sort of an account that's generating revenue, and what it generates is what you use or what the town uses for care.
Yes.
Okay.
Income only.
So
At the end of the year, any money that's been generated by these funds, we turn back over to the town. And, they pay the bills all year for the cemeteries and stuff, and then at the end of the year, we reimburse them what we have available.
Okay.
So with $118,000 of these new cemetery funds, and now for the public works department, the expenses in that, budgeting for that, why can't we, if we have a particular project like the new one, we can take a conversation, why wouldn't we be aware that we could use one of these funds to do that, rather than, try to budget it in?
It would have to be cemetery related.
Well, yeah, would you put in for it, one will cut the cemetery, for $8,000 or something like that?
Yeah.
Knowing that that's the case, and because of the budget year and the problems we had, he had cut one thing to get another thing to get the lawnmower. But he could have used one of these funds for that, I presume.
It sounded like,
I think the lot sales are part of it. Because what happens when we sell, talk to our accountant today, when we sell a lot, 2/3 of it goes into the new cemetery, the proceeds, 2/3 goes into the new cemeteries fund, and 1/3 goes to the lot sales. I believe the lot sales, you could use the principal for projects in the cemeteries.
I mean, we don't have actually some of these funds, so we don't know last year or the year before or the year before that money was actually been spent out of any of these funds.
And I'm not saying the principal hasn't been spent out of any of them.
You can't spend the principal, as we say.
Right. Other than, I'd have to check, I'm not really sure, the lot sales, we may be able to spend the principal. The rest of the year is supposed to be income only, being spent.
Which I guess, long term, I would prefer that we bolster the amount of money that can accrue interest that we can spend a larger pot, but it would be nice to know that if there were some major projects that needed to be done from the lot sales, if the town had to look into that. Now, and the process is that it goes before the trustees to take a vote and push it to the selectmen, or the selectmen recommend it come to you. I guess I don't remember that process for that.
Generally, the selectmen, if they want to spend some money from the funds, they would vote on it and then come to us.
Okay.
You would initiate it, which is what we do in a lot of the things. You guys, if it's, one thing we spend money on is landfill monitoring. The old landfill has wells around it, and there's quarterly, the engineering company goes out there and, tests the wells, takes samples from the wells. And you guys pay the bill, and they give it to us, and then we reimburse after the fact.
Okay.
Because the trustees generally only meet once a month, and it's, you don't want your bills hanging around that long, so get a bad reputation.
Mark, we have the DPW director and talk. Chuck, you're the liaison, right?
Yes.
So we can talk with Brad and figure out if there's equipment we can purchase for the cutting of the grass over there. That should come out of the funds.
Yep.
This way we're not leasing the equipment from somebody, the town can pull it.
I'd be curious for the answer to that question though, because when you buy a lot, I believe that the intent is for that money to be going toward the perpetual care. And so I'd be surprised if we could just go ahead and spend that money.
Well, the perpetual care is getting along with a couple of guys to do the weed whacking around.
See, we used to contract someone, and we have a hard time finding someone to contract to cut the grass. So now the DPW is going to be cutting the grass, but they don't have the equipment to cut the grass.
They did just buy a lawnmower, before the end of the year, they bought a lawnmower, a smaller one that go in between the stones.
Yeah, so I would just say we should let the DPW direct the coordinator. It's not to spend the money, it's because we took over the care of the lots.
It's just, it's more kind of information, you see what, yes, I'll have it's a word, but tomorrow, spend, $100,000, it's not the intent, it's just.
I mean, you need stuff, I don't know if they have, you need small lawnmowers, you need weed whackers, you need leaf mowers, and I don't know if they have that type of equipment,
And then the question would be, if you do make that purchase, can those pieces of equipment only be used in the cemetery, or can they be used in other town parks? I don't know.
No, that's it.
no. But if the town's gonna take over, you can't have one lawnmower and one weed whacker, so let's let the DPW director figure that out and see if we can at least get it out of there, so they have the equipment to do the maintenance.
So, I mean, that's really kind of what I have for the money end of it, but the other question is, I've asked it years gone by, there's $902,000 in the Sanborn Regional Capital Reserve Fund. So other than us paying the interest, which I assume we have to pay for the schools, rather we maintain the schools, and it probably goes back a gazillion years, but
We're just the caretakers of the funds.
Yeah.
If I sell, school board sets the money aside, and we just, the caretakers, for some reason, they're not allowed to hold funds, some state law or something.
oh, all right, so it's not out of the goodness of our heart, there's some requirement.
No, they set the money aside out of their budget, and
Oh, I don't come from their budget, I just, we're having to do the accounting and taking care of it, and, they got a $30 million budget with the loan, I just don't understand financially why they can't be taken care of. Anyway, and the last one on the scholarship funds, because there's some there for the school, but there's, for railroad fund and the hill and all that, is that? Those are all school related also. School, not town related, it's not a fund for the town, but. Right.
yeah, we coordinate with the school. They basically, we know what the criteria is, and they also know what the criteria is for each of these scholarships, and they pick the people. We tell them how much money is available, they pick the recipients, and once they've met the requirements, we give them a check for the scholarship. Usually, they have to pass the first semester successfully, I think is what all of them are. And once they have successfully done that, then we give them the scholarship amount.
Anyone have any other specific questions? Anything else you want to dive into while you're here?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, we appreciate you coming in.
Appreciate the work you guys do.
Thank you. On the agenda, we have public comment number 1. Is there anyone that would like to speak during public comment number 1? Seeing no takers, we'll move into committee liaison reports. Chuck?
Yes, but I got to find it. Fire department, little overall, we have some of the funding for the infrastructure, the generator, that kind of thing, for up and down. The highway, everything on the highway, the railroad is, Phil was looking at the boat ramp again, and talking with the person who was going to donate to the dock for the right out thing there, so he has been working with the state also. And probably will apply for the grant based on whatever information that he found, especially if somebody's willing to put the dock in for it, so. And the other one, latest and greatest is, I was at the first conservation meeting the other night, and, It was interesting to hear what's going on there. And a couple of things is that they have had an ongoing issue with the federal project. So Jess and I met out there today. We looked at the area of concern the conservation has with the survey and with the boat that's potentially on conservation land and some fencing and stuff. But as it turns out, Mary came out with a plot plan from 1996 that doesn't agree with, at least looking at it standing, it doesn't agree with the plot plan that Dennis had just done. So Jess is going to, well, I think Dennis is still on vacation, isn't he? Did I say the 19th or something? Anyway, he's going to check with Dennis to see if we can reconcile which plot plan is correct.
Well, I think, yeah, if we have to do a survey, I believe there's money in the L-chip to have it surveyed.
But they're involved with it, and everyone knows more about that.
Yeah.
So,
Survey in December.
right, so it needs to be looked at to get it solved. We can't have it, and that looks like it just gets a hold of Dennis and gives him the plot plan that we have from them, that it should.
Who surveyed it in December?
Yes.
Okay. Was he doing it on behalf of the town for the conservation? Was he doing it on behalf of the town for the Conservation Commission for the property?
Yeah, we have, the town, the state, and the conservation.
I would just recommend we do have to follow up and finish it, because I know, this when I was doing it before, the letter was dated from 6 years ago, so obviously it's been kicking around, and we gotta find, first thing would be get the correct survey and marking, so we know where we're at. I don't think we should prolong it, I think we should get a resolve to this problem.
Let's just get to Dennis to do it.
Yeah.
Whether the rest of we do it again or whatever, we'll figure out, and then we can.
So let's go through the recommendation to the board.
These are just kind of points of interest, but those around the conservation is interesting, the lot on the corner of New Boston Road, 125. Is a clear lot. It has been purchased recently, but there's nobody that really knows who purchased it and what it's going to be. And the trailer is abandoned. Unfortunately, there's not much we can.
I think it's someone's private land, they can clear their land, so.
So they did, I'm saying, it's been bought and cleared, but they left the trailer with, this looks kind of crappy, so we have the trailer half torn up. But you can't do anything about it. No, that's kind of what I do. And do that. Another point of interest is going to go to Chris. Bresnahan trees. Obviously, there's been no headway on that. Obviously, there've been 2 or 3 years of extensions to put the trees in. Doesn't appear to be any indication that they're going in now. And we, the planning board, we're under the select, keep letting them go. We either got to put them in, or we got to have to stop working. I mean, that's, again, my opinion, but that's what.
The last extension was to what?
I thought it was to December.
Of this year?
Yeah.
Maybe the fall. They got another extension just recently.
But I thought it expired in December. And
Coming up?
No, this past December, did they get another further extension?
I thought they did, but I wouldn't go by my memory.
Because I think the last indication we had from this board that I reported to the planning board is that Glenn Greenwood was supposed to, he was supposed to have some conversation with him last, and I'm not sure if that's happened.
No, I talked to Glenn today.
Because he was supposed to look at the dates of the final extension, and then he was supposed to supply something to the planning board, and if the planning board felt it was appropriate, they need to forward it to the select board for some type of enforcement action, and whether that's, I don't know if that part of the plan was contingent on them getting approval to move to the second phase of their project, or if the planning board is gonna recommend any type of.
But there certainly shouldn't be a violation to do any further expansion until the current site complies.
Isn't it, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys would know better, but it's up to the planning board to decide if they want enforcement action, look at us.
Correct, it is, but the planning board needs to send it to us, and that's why our last recommendation was to get some updates from Glenn Greenwood, and I don't recall that, I don't remember hearing that in any of the recent meetings.
I mentioned it briefly to Brent today. And he didn't have any recollection of it. He knows it's all been extended, but he's sitting there. He didn't come up without doing looking at it.
So it's going to take a little bit of research to figure out what the last action was.
And then,
So is that something that,
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll speak with Robin, as well as Glenn, see if she can look at the research, the meeting minutes, to find out if and when the last extension was granted, and then I'll have Glenn review the plans and make a recommendation for the board to take, the planning board to take action on, and what they decide to do.
just FYI, Chris, I'm going to be with Robin tomorrow.
I would love for you to do that.
Talking about her review.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean,
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
and I will check on that and report back to you.
Yep. Okay.
that's it.
All I have is the last planning board meeting, they took care of some administrative items. Lynn Merrill will be continuing as the chair, and Robin Duguay will be serving as the vice chair, and they made some appointments to their various committees. But we do have, looks like we have some pretty busy planning board meetings coming up.
Yes, you do. Let's see, for liaison work, I have Historic District Commission tomorrow, so I have nothing to report on that yet. I did meet with the Museum Committee, and they are a very active group. They're involved in lots of stuff. In addition to all of the regular work that they're doing, cataloging and archiving and all of that, they are working on developing a set of bylaws and procedures, and so that they will have, everything laid out as to how they operate, how they function, and once those are all done, they will be forwarded over to Susan, over to you, and to Tammy. Let's see. They also wanted to make sure that folks knew about the June 10th celebration. It's the 125th year of the old building, I think. They're also going to be doing recognition for the donors who participated in the stained glass restoration project. They're going to roll that into that celebration. It's at 1 o'clock, and I believe it's at the museum building. And a question came up, and it's not something to resolve here at the meeting, but I just want to just lay it on the table that apparently there's a possibility of needing a second, now that I've started talking about it, I realize that I don't know, I don't have enough information to even talk to you about that. It's an issue with the alarm system when it goes off. Let me follow up on that.
I think DPW director would be a good resource.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay, so
I think that's all I should talk about with regard to museum. I also met with the library director, Melissa Manham. We had about a half-hour chat, and one of the things that she's actively working on is is Paula still here?
yeah, she is.
Where is she?
There she is.
So I know, Paula, I know you're aware of this, and that you're working with Melissa on it, but just so that the board knows, there's an issue with what happens with getting paid, the library getting paid between January 1 and the time of the election, at which point the new budget is approved. And so there's that window of time, she's working on that with Paula. So hopefully we'll get that resolved soon.
And I think there's also an issue that I'm happy about the phone bill for the library.
Okay, I'm supposed to work that.
It's something that I think Paula put.
So you might not know.
Okay, well, you know what, I wouldn't blame it to
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I've heard that one yet.
And Melissa didn't mention it to me when we talked, so.
If you don't know about it yet, we'll be surprised.
That's all you have?
Yeah.
Okay, we want to move into old business, I think a lot of folks may be here for this item. It is the herbicide treatment in Lumentil right-of-way. This came by way of a board at the last meeting via correspondence. I'll just kind of give a Reader's Digest for folks. We were advised by New Hampshire Electric Co-op and its consultant vegetation control services that they were seeking to apply herbicides to vegetation growing within the power lines right-of-way by the extension of the right-of-way by Unitil. They are indicating that it's performed by state-certified applicators with Special Permit 39, and they have a right to notify the town, and they also apparently had to notify any of the abutters along the right-of-way. So I know Susan did some.
Yeah, that's the second one. That's the.
Oh, that's the second one.
Yeah, the first one was the Unitil, that same idea.
Okay, so essentially what it is that they're looking to apply herbicides in the right-of-way, so I know Susan gathered some information for us in this packet, and and my reading and understanding of how the aquifer protection overlay works is that I think the board is well within its right to deny them to apply the herbicides in the aquifer protection overlay specifically. I don't know what our rights are to regulate their activity in the non-aquifer protection overlay, but it appears that most of it is within the aquifer protection overlay. So I welcome anyone else's input. My suggestion would be that as a board, I'm going to recommend that we vote to tell them that no, we will not permit them to use the herbicides. I imagine the herbicides, it's probably just a cheaper alternative than cutting brush if they want to maintain that vegetation. But I would recommend that the board tell them that we're requesting that they not engage in that. If they have any type of rights to appeal that, I would suggest that we hold that as a public hearing. If they would have to come back, and we'd have to hold it as a public hearing and allow input from the community.
Well, further to that, though, we can cite a section of the ordinance. It's section 201. This is the aquifer protection ordinance. 201E18, which is under prohibited uses, and it reads use or generation of hazardous materials greater than small quantity generators or greater than 25 gallons of regulated substances, except where permitted in association with 14 and 17 above, which don't relate to anything that we're talking about. So it's, I believe it's a prohibited use. And as such, if it's an ordinance, which this is, if their recourse would be to seek a variance from the zoning board of adjustment.
So I would just say, I brought this up when Unitil was here, because a private citizen reached out to me, saw it on Rockstall's page, and said, hey, what's Kingston doing with this? And that's when I asked Susan, and I asked the Unitil people here, and I put them on the spot with the project engineers. They had no control over that. And then Susan got the information, so I'm glad that we are looking at this, but this came from someone that reached out to me, and I'm glad we looked, and I agree with you, Chris. I think the proper thing is to deny them and let them come to us if they can explain more of the chemicals or whatever they're going to use, but to just let them do whatever without questioning, I don't think is doing proper business.
Yeah, I mean, I think because it seems to be specifically a prohibited use, they may not have any recourse that they would have to go to ZBA. So I think we need to notify them in writing that we deem this to be a prohibited use based off the aquifer protection ordinance. And if they want to seek recourse, they can follow the procedures outlined in the zoning board of adjustment. I know we'll take a motion on that effect, unless we have more discussion.
Well, I'll make that motion to get on the table.
I'll second.
So, discussion, I mean, what they provided to the town, is it a request of us, or is it just a notification to us?
It appears in the readings of them that it's a notification, but then either the community or abutters can specifically designate no spray zones. So I think by us being aware of this, we're essentially stating that our response would be that anything about for protection overlay, which will provide you any mapping if you need it, we are denying your ability to spray within that area.
Okay, so it's within the aquifer protection zone, which is all we can say.
Correct.
Okay. And they do it, and just for further discussion, I mean, there are alternatives. I mean, there are mechanical alternatives. Goats, they can actually deploy goats
Chris, on behalf of the board, to send a letter denying them the use of.
So if Susan could draft the letter and I could draft the other ones and sign it.
Okay.
Yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Well, if we weren't really open this up for a public hearing, because without the respondents here to be available to maybe hear that and respond to it, we didn't want to open up for a public hearing, but based off of the information we had, we felt it was appropriate to do a denial. So if they were going to take any further action, it appears they would have to go before the ZBA, and that would be an opportunity that would be notified to the public where all that information and input could be given.
It is the curbside use notification. It says that, it says that according to state regulations, it is the duty of each landowner or resident to make Unitil aware of the location of potentially affected private water supply and of any other environmentally sensitive areas where herbicide application should be further restricted. See,
Well,
On the website, and it's posted downstairs.
but they need this, they need a copy of this in order to reply to.
Right, I've got a stack of them downstairs, they sent us a pad.
So we will make sure, obviously, we'll let the meeting minutes reflect, and anyone watching, if anyone that is in a butter to these right-of-ways or is aware of sensitive areas that they want to let those folks know about, we do have the forms here at the town hall, and they are available to download and fill out online as well on the town website.
And I think those are more for prior notice. Those coupons, they're to be given prior notice of date when they don't come. But we're not going to go on.
Thank you, Mario. All right, we're going to move on to new business. A couple items that Susan had put on here. If we want to discuss the announcement of the age-friendly communities forum.
I am available and willing to go to that.
Okay. So what it is on, there's a Kingston age-friendly community forum. It's on Thursday, April 20th, from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Kingston Public Library. They have information there, as well as we have this flyer with the input on there. So they are asking for one or two select board members to attend. It sounds like Kevin maybe wants to start into that.
Put in the calendar now.
And then anyone else needs to check their availability, as long as we don't have more than two of us attend, we'll be all set.
I can check my availability. I don't have it with me though. Okay. But I can get back to Susan.
Yeah, or Melissa.
Melissa?
I just know I'm hot and heavy in the sports seasons with my kids, so we'll have.
Yeah, no, if you can notify, I'll definitely be there. If they need something prior to, they can contact me, but I plan on being there from 11:30 to 1:30.
Okay. Another item that we have on there, was a permission to accept donations from a comedy show to the benefiting food pantries. So essentially what it is, there's a comedy show producer that has been doing a series of comedy shows and looking to donate proceeds to a local food pantry. And there's an upcoming show on the 18th of May at the Mill 77 Brewery in Amesbury, and they're asking permission to donate to our food pantry. They are saying since the town's name will be involved, I wanted to run it by the select board, and emphasizing they can give me a list of topics to avoid. I have some concerns in that area.
I think, if they don't donate to us, they reached out to us. I don't need to make a list of what they shouldn't talk.
Exactly. If we want to ask them to donate, and they're saying they're making donations to the Kingston food pantry, I'm fine with that. I'm not comfortable with starting to dictate what type of First Amendment speech issues that they can talk about. It's obviously not affiliated, we're not sponsoring it, we're not hosting it. If they want to make a donation, I feel comfortable allowing them to donate to us, but I am not getting involved in regulating their content.
And I would thank those for coming forward with this, and then to contact us, but yeah, I agree with you 100%. Let them do their thing, it's nice enough that they offered us,
So if anyone's interested, I entertain a motion to authorize the Human Services Director to accept donations from the comedy marketer.
so much, so much.
Second by Chuck. So any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Not gonna touch on that one. We already touched on that one. So we're gonna go into additional board business. We have one item on here about extending the fire station building committee terms for 60 days. We did that last week. Okay.
Forgot to print it.
Deputy Fire Warden announcement, appointment? Was that in that? Was
That's in the orange.
That's in the packet?
Yeah.
Was there any concerns with that?
I left to clean up the fire committee appointment forms.
No, it's on those.
So is this one of those ones where we want them to come in, or is this just a housekeeping extension?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just because there were a few last minute outstanding items.
Yeah.
Just so they have authority to continue working, I
So we'll
guess.
need to swear in again, I think.
Okay.
For the extra 60 days, or do we just have it extended?
Has it lapsed?
Yeah, I think March.
Okay. So as long as nobody has any issues with it, that'll be passed around.
Yeah, well, actually, this is only for the chairperson side.
Okay.
So,
I guess that's interim me. With the resignation of Richard Wilson, we do need to discuss reassignment of liaisons and rep appointments. I think at least in the interim, so somebody can cover them until.
who do we have? Do we have a list?
Yes, I had a pile of it here. Pretty sure. Yeah, I'm gonna pass these down.
Oh, we've got it already?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's two. Harry Stone Glass, I mean, which
I think that one's a light lift right now.
I would say, well, you want to do that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Chris, I don't mind helping you,
I think I have an appointment set up, we have a meeting set up next week for the inspectors, and I'm working with the, I'm obviously working with code enforcement overseeing that, so, I mean, if I need any additional help on that,
Yeah, if you need help, I don't mind doing that.
Which one was that?
That was just the inspectors. And then we have the down liaisons, just human services, welfare.
I'll take that.
Okay.
Sure.
It's gonna be you, Chuck?
Yep.
Yes, I can do that. Human services.
So one other thing that Richard was going to be the point of contact from that complaint that we had with the shooting situation on Red Road. If I'm around and available, I have no problem going out to inspect it, but like I said, I'm at lacrosse games every weekend right now, so I don't know my availabilities are going to be on Sunday. I don't know if somebody else potentially wants to make themselves available to take that call and go over and see it firsthand.
So the process was going to be that when the property owner was aware of the shooting activity, they were going to reach out to the designated select board person, who would then get in touch with Chief Johnson.
Get in touch with the chief, respond out there with the decimal testing meter, and head out there for that. Correct. I mean, I guess I have no problem if we want to.
So we have a primary and a secondary.
Yeah, so if we're available.
I mean, especially with your law enforcement background, and if you're available, I would almost prefer you be the person. But I'm happy to be backup.
Okay. So if you could provide her with contact info for myself and Len, I'll be the primary, and if I'm not available, I would ask her to contact Glenn, and then he could be available to go out there and inspect that.
I'm not sure I have a good way to contact the chief, fire, police chief, so.
Police chief.
Give me his phone number.
There is, the cruisers have a cell phone number now. So if we see an incident, or an accident, or in this kind of a thing, if you call that number, it goes directly to, well, it's on Zoom, rather than, if it's a Sunday. Well, I don't have a meter, so.
Well, as a liaison with the chief, I'll ask him if the decibel meter is readily available, if it's in one of the cruisers or if it's at the station, because it may be, I just think because of the serious nature of the allegation, if the chief's available, I'd like him to go out as well, but if not, we could have whatever officer on duty is available to go out with us, as long as they have access to the device.
I mean, I have the main number for the station, whatever the English number is.
Yeah, but if it's on the weekends,
It's gonna go on the dispatch or something.
Yeah, it's gonna go right there. So I'll give you his number after.
Yep, okay.
All right, we need to reassign the employee evaluations that Richard was assigned to.
Which one's the?
So I will get Susan and Paula, and I gave those, I turned those over to Paula. So Paula has possession of those.
I'll do human services, yeah, that word, human services. If she hasn't had it, it's done, I don't know. Which was that, I don't know if he's, we don't have anything else to number two, right, Paul?
Yes, Susan, myself, and Melissa's is not done.
I don't know the office.
No, I can do Susan's. So if you could just distribute those to us before you leave tonight, if we could get those, because I made sure I turned them to you.
Paul, can I ask, can we, well, actually, that work for you, but it won't for anyone. When we have the evaluation, we have last year's evaluation, because they have goals and that, but it won't work for you, it won't work for human services. Yeah. Because just make sure he met his goals.
Okay, public comment number 2. Chief comment.
So just a few things that came up today. I know we had talked about one of my guys taking a paramedic program at the department meeting. So Paul was kind enough to draft a contract and then send it to legal, which we got it back. So he has signed it, I have signed it. If you guys want to take a look at it. So it's already been through our town lawyer, but I also have the invoice and PO for that class. Two other things. We put the tanker in for yearly inspection, and it failed inspection due to 2 leaf springs in the back that failed. We brought a redundant spring, who does work for the town quite regularly. They said that 2 rear springs need to be replaced. It's unsafe to drive it in its current condition. They said could be anywhere, depending on how hard we get the springs out, anywhere from $3,000 to $4,500. So you will submit a PO tonight for up to $4,500 to get the tanker back in service.
Can I ask you, when was the last time those were replaced?
The springs in the back of the tanker?
Yeah.
Probably never.
No? I know you replaced the springs or something.
He said it looked like repair work comes with them, like welding, but not when I was chief, so not last time.
Okay.
How old's that?
2001. It doesn't look like
No, they didn't back me. I know the reason I thought maybe it was recently replaced, because it's such a little piece of equipment, I can't believe it's lasted that long. It's a tank, it's the heaviest piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Can you use impact fees for that?
What's that?
Can you use impact fees for that?
I don't know if you can for that.
So the way I understand impact fees, and I could be wrong, is that it needs to directly benefit, the fire department actually is going to directly benefit the fire department or the building. It does say something about the fire department building itself, based off of the impact that additional housing will have. So the way I read it, kind of almost is meant for more like upkeep of the building and that sort of stuff. So I don't know if there's any other.
Yeah, I don't think the intent is for repair of trucks and stuff like that.
If we need to get if we need to get a ladder truck, I think it could be put towards that.
And I would remind you that there's a maintenance fund for trucks for exactly this purpose.
Yeah, obviously like the turbo that's gonna be $12,000, which is getting replaced this week, and then even this, I didn't have the budget for it. But I mean, if I have to run over that budget line, then, I mean, we need the truck, so. $3,057 for a no smoking bear sign. I think it's important that townspeople know when they can and can't burn, and what the fire danger. Unfortunately, the state doesn't donate them.
It's not gonna be a neon sign, right?
It is not any like that. It will comply with time. So I will give those to Susan before I leave.
It's not gonna have a mess up pool underneath, roll.
It may say only who can prevent forest fires, but it won't be good.
Smokey's okay.
The last thing I have is, so I did a little research, spoke to Paula, the finance director, at the department head meeting, we talked about the credit cards and $1,000 monthly limit we have now. So a select board member wasn't mentioned maybe looking at a different policy. Well, I went back and reread the policy, and in the policy, it doesn't state anywhere, it just says refer to purchase policy. So it doesn't state that there should be a limit to each individual card. So I talked to Paula earlier, I would like to request a $5,000 limit, not per purchase, but just a total card limit to be put on each card.
So, yeah, so because you're allowed to do the individual purchases up to $1,000. Yeah, you're just looking for that. I mean, does anyone have any history that we've had of any employees abusing the credit cards in the past?
The credit card's so new.
Yeah.
I mean, we had credit cards years ago, I didn't have one because I was in the department, but years ago, they'll see them. And I don't really think it was abused back then.
No, I thought we talked about this, and Paul was gonna come back with an amended policy.
You look at the policy actually doesn't state that, it just says refer to the purchase policy, which doesn't really apply to the credit card, so.
It says a purchase policy for $1,000 purchase, and $1,000 purchase could be multiple items, but, which it could, as you've seen in some of the POs, like, it could be books and, you know, a whole bunch of things to make it over $1,000 for that one purchase, but when they're using it to sign up for a seminar, or go to the store to get something, and it's easier to use the credit card, you know, because they couldn't get petty cash or whatever. It adds up, and that 1,000 in a month.
No, I agree, it needs to be changed, but I thought you were gonna draft the policy and bring it to us before we did.
But the policy, the current policy states, the purchasing policy refers to credit cards.
Yeah.
The $1,000 limit to a PO, and I guess I would kind of put that on the board, that if I'm buying a set of turn-up clothes, boots and pants, and if I separated each one out, unless I was, you know, daring enough to do it over a 3-month period, and do the coat, you know, at $800 1 month, and then 2 months later do the pants. You know, it should be pretty straightforward.
Can I ask you, is there any reports tied to the cards or no?
I was looking it up, so I knew the rules, because we do have a policy, but I'm gonna have to adjust it. I'm gonna adjust it, because I don't agree with, like, the $1,000.
No, I think that has to be changed, 100%, I agree, but.
In the credit card, and I'm gonna actually look, but there was this flyer in the folder, and it says that there's rewards, but I haven't seen rewards on the bill.
So what I would think is, and that's why I don't want to do anything here, I think this is something the finance director has to do and bring it back to the board, because the other board was gun shy on it, and the other finance director was very gun shy on it, and I think, Chris, you have knowledge. The county purchases a lot of stuff on credit cards and pays it every month, so there's no interest charge.
Yeah.
And they have a rapid rewards program that they make lots of money in different departments advantageous to the town to use the credit card more than we would because of the rewards program. We could be buying stuff with it, but the passport was not, they were very, very shy on it. And I think I would feel more comfortable, I don't want to make any decision tonight, I would be more comfortable with our finance director re-looking at the policy and coming back. But I agree, $1,000 was ridiculous. I was against $1,000.
And I don't think the policy, it doesn't have to be anything intensive on it, but I think if you could have some amended policy language to support that for next week, I think we could make a vote on it next week as long as we have something appropriate.
Yeah, and then does the rewards need to go to the department or to the town? You know, but it's long as they pay the bill.
Because it's one bill, so I don't know how they split the rewards.
Yeah, I'd say it'd be easier to just have it go to the town and then maybe we can make decisions of how that's.
Again, I don't know if I'm asking you, but all I'm saying is that the county, they use the rewards in a way to purchase a lot of things through the rewards program. So it's free, you know.
If you do any number of things with the rewards, you use it to offset other expenses if you need to.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be personal use, obviously, but just for, and Graham, you said this contract went through legal, do we have a review from it?
That, yes, so I updated it based on legal's recommendations. I drafted one, we sent it to legal, and then they gave me some changes, and that's the final.
I would make it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I mean, this is a great deal for us, I gotta be honest with you, but I would make a motion to approve this contract. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous?
So he kind of wants to sign this.
Yeah, he already signed this.
So he took a copy, asked for a copy after everybody signed it.
The only thing is, we already had the meeting, there's nothing filled out on the, down here.
Right, it's coming out of the Indian fund, so I don't have access to those numbers. So,
And he said he was bringing it tonight, I told him to bring it tonight, so I will fill that out.
Okay, and so I thought we talked about it, we weren't, I signed it, and I looked, and it's like, I thought we weren't gonna purchase sign it, unless it just is completely filled out.
so that's fine, I will run it through Paul, and that.
Yeah, the contract side of the PO should be completely filled out before it comes before us, because that's how we lose stuff. No PO.
So I suppose if someone's come back to it as well.
It's the same thing.
We talked about this, so we should.
The board said, hey, we just can't be signing off on incomplete purchase orders, even if they come in last minute. We need them to be complete so that we understand which line items the current balance of the purchases are coming from.
Well, the contract's not a PO. Did you read the PO? Yeah, show me the PO.
Well, it started, comes out, and finish so.
We talked about this.
They need to come in ahead of time, and then we wouldn't have a problem.
I apologize for wasting your time with the POs, I'll look them all up. If you selectmen could stop by at some time this week, because that PO I need signed to see if it's somebody else. That would be greatly appreciated from the page. Thank you.
Don't leave the table just yet. I've got a question. Going back to your question about the springs on the truck.
Yep.
I'll sign the contract.
Is that
The capital reserve fund for fire apparatus, is that just for the purchase of new equipment? It is. So it can't be used for.
And that fund, unlike the capital reserve for the highway department, my capital reserve fund was set up so that I need a board of people. You know, it's not just a board vote, it's a town vote to spend money on.
Any other number about purchase orders?
So, before he goes, because he can maybe correct and update us on the two other items we were going to talk about, the generator grant, which very quickly, if he hasn't already, the final bill into them. Now, we'll get all the information from Bob. So hopefully, within the next month, do you think? Hopefully there will be, we'll be having a hearing to accept the money, it's between 62 and 63,000. And then the other update on the firehouse, actual construction of the balance on that. And, Paul's been working diligently with Graham and myself. I keep bugging, but, basically at this point, we've got $1,730 left in the fire building capital reserve fund. And we have $182,000 in the infrastructure fund, which is a total of $184,121. Now, which is great, and that, if we were doing it right now today, we'd come back. However, there are some things, there's still a few things left to take care of. We have to do some tree planting, and we talked about some test wells and things that we wanted to do. And the other thing we're looking at is getting some, because there's some money there, extended maintenance agreements. If we can get a maintenance agreement on something for 3 years, now, it's certainly going to help us in the future. So there's some encumbering funds, as I call them, coming out there before we actually have the total figure. But that's what it looks like at this point.
So if we are going to entertain stuff like that, we just need to make sure that we can, those funds, that the way they're designated to be used, we can encumber them for like a service contract or something.
Well, that's, I think that's, just before we finalize the final figure, we want to ensure whatever we can do with that we can do. And as I say, it should be reconciled shortly.
So what's the timeline? Do you think you'll get something back, and we'll get something back to the board of the plan of what the remaining or expenditure of the funds is going to be, or looking into some of this?
So, there's one last grant that I was hoping to get, but we all know how long it took the last grant to go through, and that was with the help of Jan Stevens. So our training room and our EOC, we're looking at probably $50,000 to put up TVs, a full media center, so that, if you do have an EOC operations or training, that, everything can be accounted for, Weather Channel, state web EOC, all that good stuff. We can get a grant through Homeland Security, which I would like to do. Obviously, I like the same town money, like the $64,000 coming back in the generator. It's taking time. So I hope by the end of this year that I'd be able to get you a hard figure on what we're turning back.
Anyone else? Okay.
I'll make sure when I do, it's there.
Well, I hope there wasn't any information to read off of that. All right, correspondence, applications, purchase orders. There was one item in there that you got some attorney,
I'm sorry, I want to talk about the non-public, actually,
the exemption, okay? So we can move that to non-public.
Field use applications are waiting till next week because, DPW will not sign off on them until the fields are ready.
So my understanding is that one of the fields may be ready as soon as the 12th, which we would need to, and the only holdup that DPW had on, at least the one for the Magnuson field usage for the Kingston baseball, softball directly, was that some language in their insurance binder, which is the same binder they've been using since I used to participate in the league. It just states Cal Ripken, and so when I was on the board, I ran into the same issue where we were participating in a tournament, and they're like, well, we wanted to say the town of Kingston. Pretty much Cal Ripken is such a huge organization nationwide, they will not break it down to individuals. They say if you're part of our organization and it says Cal Ripken under there, you're covered. We're not doing individual towns' names for the tens of thousands of organizations that we represent every time they want an insurance binder.
Yeah, we have been doing it in the past.
And this is the same binder we've received every year since I was, so in my personal experience in dealing with that organization, I feel comfortable. And I think what it was is Phil just wanted to make sure the board felt comfortable with that, since it kind of differs from what's stated in the permit application process for the field usage. So I would like the board to at least, have a consensus that they're okay with that, because I know Phil was working with the crews. There was a tree that fell down in Magnuson, that his crews were trying to get that cut out of there today or tomorrow, but I think the intention is to let that happen, and with the dry weather, they were gonna allow we're gonna allow them to use Magnuson Field.
Do you believe that, because he's not here right now?
I believe so, I believe Lisa may have it, we need it.
But some of those went out, because Kyle's bringing it around, so I've kind of lost track.
Because what it is they already have a tournament starting next week, and they're like, we haven't had a chance to practice on actual fields.
Right.
And all these rec leagues are kind of going the way of the dodo, because they can't keep the funding to do a practice. They have, that's usually scheduled for May, before they have opening day, so they get out and do some practicing, and then.
There's a tournament coming up, and
They have one small tournament, yeah, there's. At the field. But they can't go on the field until they're authorized to be out on the field. So, no, I agree, so I know they want to get out there. I will say, I know he's obviously always very eager to get there as soon as possible, but in my experience dealing with him, he's always been very respectful in making sure that we don't cause any unnecessary damage that, to the fields, because he has a vested interest in making sure they are available to the field.
there was two things in there that you were supposed to sign for your answer.
So I just wanted to bring those up, that if the board is okay, I just wanted that, it was already approved. So I'll sign those. We have the notice of intent to excavate, there are a couple items on veterans' notes, I don't know if anyone had any questions on those, and then obviously the field use, we're going to non-public to handle that elderly exemption.
And then I have one person out.
Okay. We have one more personnel that we were made aware of this afternoon. Okay. From Susan and I.
Before we go to non-public, I finally reviewed my notes from the library. I just wanted, I couldn't report to you, but I can. And it's that they have one phone line here. They used to have two. One was for a fax machine, one was for a phone. Fax machine is gone. Yeah, so it's just one phone line. Apparently, there's a pretty regular alarm testing that happens. I forget the frequency, but it's regular. And when that happens, it activates the answering machine, or the answering device. It fills up the mailbox, and so if a resident calls the museum and wants to leave a message, they can't. So the issue is, can we resolve it to some satisfaction where there can be a valid way for people to leave messages? Because they're not open all the time, so is this something you'd like me to follow up with the DPW?
Yeah, that's something that also in Block 5, they can have an extension.
Well, okay.
They can try anyway.
I just wanted to let you know what the issue was, because I didn't before. So.
Yeah, because I mean, if it's a hardline infrastructure thing, I think the DPW should be involved, and if he needs to request that the Block 5 be involved, I mean, it could be a simple.
I'm
going to start.
There's, the fax machine, there's alarm testing that activates the machine.
Yeah, so Comcast, so when Block 5, took over our phones, they transferred all the lines, but there were some lines that they couldn't transfer because they were connected to faxes and the alarm. I think they were called faxes, but they're really the alarms. So they're still paying to Comcast for certain phone lines.
Well, apparently, the way I understand it anyway, is that at the museum building, there used to be two lines. There's only one line now, which is tied into the alarm testing, because it's the only line there is. And it's also the way people can call the museum and leave messages if nobody's there. And because the alarm testing apparently triggers the answering, it then fills up the mailbox, and so there isn't the ability for someone to leave a message.
So I wonder if when they changed the phone lines, because I wasn't here when they were given the phone lines, that maybe Block 5 can't took a wrong one, one of the wrong ones.
I think Block 5 should be able to fix it.
They can maybe fix it, or I can call Comcast. That's on my list of things to do, is call Comcast, because we're still paying for a bunch of lines, and I honestly don't have any idea what they're.
Yeah, so then should I work with you on this, as opposed to going to Phil?
Because the other thing is the alarm can be set to a different time. It can test at 2 in the morning, not during, I don't know when it's testing.
It's not when it's testing, it's the frequency of it and the fact that it fills up the mailbox.
Okay, so I would check with block 5. I don't even know if the votes were switched.
It should only test once a day.
I mean, sure. Well, yeah, he said it's the frequency.
But that's the issue, is that because it's every day, however it's set up, it ends up filling up the mailbox.
It takes the time on the line.
Right. So,
Find out with block 5, there might be a simple test.
if you need anything more from me, or if you need me to talk to the... That's the same thing.
You just say umbrella, we're going to respond.
We have block 5 and then they call me. That's how we have to do it.
So, okay, thanks.
I don't think there's any other board issues.
Any other business before we entertain a motion to go in the non-public or not, right? Okay, so I guess we would need a motion for non-public per RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2, semicolon A. It sounds like we have 2 that fall under that. 2 personnel, 1 legal, and 1 legal. So
I'll make that motion.
second. Aye. Kevin? Aye. Chuck? Yes. I'm a yes. At 7:45 PM, we will be